Today I'm going to install the HONED Developments Brake Booster Delete Kit. What is up, guys? I'm back. I know I've been gone for a while. I've been in Rob's videos and he's been on the channel a lot, and you know, quite frankly, it was a nice needed break. And I'm glad he's been doing lots of stuff on his car that you have seen. So now it is time to get back working on my car. After the track day last time, I wanted to really think about what the car needed. You know, there's always parts that you can throw at these cars to change them and make them better or worse or whatever. But I wanted to try to be a little bit smarter this time. I've done a lot of mods to the car, and I really think that I don't need to do so much to the car because it's more about me learning how to drive in a race setting. So what I have been thinking about since the track day is braking. I think I don't have a lot of confidence when I'm braking because I don't think the car gives me as much feedback as I would want when I'm braking. So I started researching and looking into brake booster delete kits. The brake booster seems to be the source of, you know, not getting a lot of feedback from the brake pedal, especially in a race setting. The brake booster is set up to help the driver in everyday driving get a easier pedal feel when braking, but it doesn't give you a lot of feedback in a race setting. So I wanted to just give more pedal feedback to have more control and more confidence while I'm racing. So this is where HONED Developments comes in. They are a small Australian company, and they have started to engineer parts for the 90s Honda chassis, and specifically more for racing. And so their kit, what makes it different than a lot of brake booster delete kits on the market, is that it uses all Honda OEM parts. You can still reuse your master cylinder, which was the big thing for me. I didn't have to get an aftermarket master cylinder, and then also you don't need any new hard brake lines. The ones that are in the car can be reused. You don't have to get new ones fitted to the car. So those are the big points that drew me in, but they also have a lot of added features that really make the kit exceptional in a race setting. So the HONED Brake Booster Delete Kit reduces the compliance between the brake pedal and the master cylinder, which gives you a firmer pedal feel. There is no lag between the pressure in the brake lines and the force on the pedal, so that gives you improved braking control. The Delete Kit reduces sensitivity, which makes modulating brake force easier, and because race car, there is a lot of weight reduction by taking out the booster. I've been really lucky to develop this partnership with HONED Developments, and I really want you guys to show them some love. Go to their YouTube page. I'm going to put the link right here. Click that circle and you will be able to get over to their page and subscribe to their YouTube. They're going to be showing you installs and race clips and all kinds of stuff from what they're doing in Australia with their suspension parts and their brake booster delete kits, so you can see it firsthand from them. And then I'm going to have a link in the description to their website if you want to buy their parts or talk to them, ask them questions about what their parts can do for your car. So please go subscribe to their channel, and then go down to the link in the description and go over to their website, look at all their products, and buy some stuff, guys. So let's get going on the install. I just want to remind you all that this is just a step into our world, into my world of, you know, working on my car. And it's not a step-by-step instruction. It's just to show you what I am doing. So let's get started. So I'm going to do a little unboxing for you. This is the package that HONED sent us all the way from Australia, and took us 8 days to get it to us here in Florida, which is not that bad. So here's the whole kit. The booster delete is on the left there with the red caps on the ends, and then you have the master cylinder brace, and then some instructions there in the back, and some auxiliary parts that are needed, the push rod and vacuum cap and template for drilling. There are some tools that you will need to have, some drill bits. I need an 18 millimeter drill bit and a 10 millimeter wrench or a flared wrench for brake lines. Overall, the kit is really nice. It's really well manufactured and seems like really high quality. So the big difference between HONED's kit, which I'm installing today, and others on the market that I've seen is that you're actually going to modify the brake pedal itself. We're going to actually drill a new pivot point in the pedal, and I'm going to show you guys that later. First, I need to take out my seat just so I can get some more room to work under the dash, and I'm actually going to remove the brake pedal. I'm going to try to show you guys how I do this stuff under the dash. So right here is a cotter pin that you need to remove that's on the brake pedal, and then that bolt will slide out. And then there is a bolt at the top of the brake pedal that you just need to unscrew, and then it comes out pretty easily, as you can see here. Brake pedal is out of the car, so I'm going to go on to the next step, re-drill the pivot hole. This hole here, they relocated it up 1 inch, and they have a template here. I'm going to show you guys how to do that now with my voiceover. First step is to get a ruler of some kind, because you're going to have to measure the distance from the middle of the pivot hole to the edge of the brake pedal. So I'm going to use my ruler here and measure that there. Seems to be right on 31 millimeters. So then I attach the template that is included from HONED with just a nut and a bolt. Not too hard at first because we need to maneuver it around. So I'm going to take my ruler and then measure 31 from the edge, and I want the pilot hole to be at the center. Seems to be it there. That is the same mark I had in the beginning. So the center of this hole and then the center of this hole should be the same distance from the edge of the pedal. You want to tighten down the template and then check your measurements, make sure the template hasn't moved. If it has, you kind of just got to go back and forth, you know, readjust and get it to the right position. So I'm going to drill a pilot hole. My drill to get the new hole started. Once you have the pilot hole drilled, you just need to switch your drill bits to the larger 18 millimeter to drill the correct size hole. Okay, so after much drilling, we have got our second hole done. So that is where this pivot bolt will go back in. It's the one with the clip in it, and so that'll be great. Fits through, and there's enough clearance. Plus, this is really thick. That's why it took me so long to get it drilled through. Okay guys, day 2. I didn't do too much on the first day. I just kind of wanted to get the hard part of this mod out of the way with the brake pedal. I took care of that and did the new drilling of the new hole. So now I'm going to remove the booster that is in the car now, and I'm going to be removing my master cylinder and replacing it because it's pretty old. I think it may be leaking a little bit. Not sure, but I think since I was freshening up this anyway and doing a whole new thing, why not get a new master cylinder and have a fresh start. This, for people who don't know, is your brake booster. It uses vacuum pressure from your intake to assist you in braking the vehicle. So what I'm doing is deleting that system. I've already kind of started the process, you'll see in a minute, and this is going to firm up the brake feel and give me more control while racing. So I'm going to get on removing the old booster and installing the new HONED pieces. So first things first, you want to get rid of this vacuum line that is connected to the intake. So you want to just take that clip off and pull the hose off. I just put it to the side there, and then HONED gives you a vacuum cap with the kit to plug up that bung. You probably should drain or try to pull out some fluid from the cylinder, but I didn't really do that. I just put a rag under it. But what happens when you undo the hoses, the two hard lines, which is what I'm doing now, they start to leak slowly from gravity. So it's probably a better idea to just try to get like a turkey baster or a syringe and pull out some of the fluid, but I was lazy on that part. So you pull the lines off, the hard lines. You kind of have to bend them out of the way, but you can put them back easily. Now I'm going to take off the master cylinder itself. There's two nuts holding it to the booster, which I'm undoing right now. And then I take the cap off, and I can pull the booster away. I just put it to the side, and then you got to go back under the car to get the delete out. There's 4 screws behind the brake pedal. The brake pedal is not in here at the moment because I pulled it out, as you saw. So I just undo those screws, and the booster will be loose. So then you can kind of push on the push rod that's still in there, and it'll push free on the opposite side. So here you got to kind of push some stuff out of the way. The hard lines were kind of in the way for me, and then this bracket that holds the throttle cable and the vacuum hose that was there is in the way as well. So you're going to have to bend that out of the way, bend some things out of the way, which can be put back. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I can get the booster free and pull it out of the bay. So now that the booster is out of the way, I can clean up the area behind it. It wasn't actually that dirty, but there's some grime around the area, so I just wiped that off with some purple power to get it ready for the delete to go on. Here I am attaching the metal bracket, the brass bracket from the old pushrod onto the new honed pushrod, and then I'm getting the honed delete ready, taking the caps off, and then just feed it through the 4 holes in the firewall and put on the factory nuts that were there, and it'll be good to go. Tighten those down. I have the honed delete in. I put the 4 screws on the back on the inside and tighten them down. So now this is ready, and now I'm ready to get my new master cylinder on. But first I need to bench bleed it, which means just getting all of the air out of this, so it's a little bit easier to bleed the system once I get it in the car. So I'm going to show you guys now how to do that. So I watched Eric the car guy do this kind of technique to bench bleed the system. What you want to do is get your new cylinder on a vise or something to hold it up, and then you want to fill it with new brake fluid. So what I'm going to do after that is go ahead and try to force the air out of the system with either the old or the new push rod. I'm going to use the new push rod from the home kit to force fluid into the master cylinder and air out through the holes. So what you do is you put the push rod in the back, push it forward basically. You want to keep your fingers over the holes when you're pushing it forward. You don't have to keep it too tight, but if you don't, the fluid will squirt everywhere. So you want to put your fingers gently over when you're going forward and push in, and fluid's going to come out. So that's why you got to have that something down below to catch your fluid. So on the push in, you want to just gently put your fingers over to avoid like lots of splatter. And then when you let out, you want to make sure that your fingers are tightly pressed against the 2 holes so that no air comes in once the push rod is being pulled or being released. So this forces any air that's in the system out, but doesn't bring any more air into the reservoir or the master cylinder. So once I did that, I had these caps that came with the reservoir, and I just put those on so I wouldn't have any leakage when I moved the cylinder to the car. So just put the cap on so you don't have any spillage when you're moving it over to the car. You're just going to feed it onto the 2 screws sticking out and use the factory nuts to secure it back to the car. Now just move the hard lines back into place. You're going to have to kind of work them slightly to get them back over in the right position, but not very much. This is what I really like about this kit, is that you don't need new hard lines, or you don't need to really reshape the hard lines to get them to go back. It's really very close to factory settings, and that makes this install unique and easy. So get your 10mm flared wrench and get those hard lines secure.
And try something a little bit different than what HONED does, and I'm going to attach the push rod to the brake pedal before I put it into the car. They do it the opposite way. They attach this to the car, then they attach that. You kind of need a buddy to do that. So I'm going to try that on the bench and then go to the car.
This technique works fairly well, especially if you're by yourself. It's really the only way. You just kind of have to finagle everything in the small area that you have, and get everything positioned and feed the push rod through kind of as you're feeding the brake pedal back into position. But it all worked out. I got everything in position, and now I'm just feeding the main bolt to the top. And you also make sure to attach the return spring as well, as I didn't mention that before. You're going to have to detach that.
Next we're going to install the master cylinder brace that you can get from HONED as well. So we just have to remove this bracket here, and I think that should be it. Take this nut out, move the bracket out of the way, and then we need to go underneath the loom, I believe.
So this is where the install for the brace is different from the right-hand drive model, because the loom is supposed to fit over and be reattached, but it just doesn't fit in this area, which is fine. It's not a problem. So I secured the nut on the front of the brace, but the rear has no threaded holes. So unfortunately there's only one nut securing it. HONED has said that I could probably use a nutsert or a rivet nut to create a threaded hole there where I can put a bolt in. So that might be an option for the future. Right now I'm going to see how it does with just the one secured nut holding it in place. It's very sturdy as it is now. Here I am adjusting the brace to be flush and secure against the master cylinder to keep it from any kind of movement under braking load. So you just need to use a wrench and kind of, push it against the master cylinder. So now I'm just going to bleed the brakes. You guys know how to do this. We've shown you it before in previous videos. You just want to start from the furthest away from the master cylinder and work your way up to the front, making sure to get all the air out of the system.
So that was the install of the brake booster delete kit from HONED Developments and my new master cylinder. Just so you know, you don't need to get a new master cylinder. If yours is working fine, then just reuse it with the kit. I chose to just do a new one to get a fresh start with my system. My chassis has seen a lot of miles and a few track days already, so I just wanted a fresh start with the brake system. The kit itself went in great. The delete went in as it should. There was no problem with any clearances. You just got to make sure when you are drilling the brake pedal that the template doesn't move. Otherwise that isn't that difficult either. The only part that I had a little bit of trouble with, which HONED warned me about, was installing the master cylinder brace, which is a kind of an optional add-on. You don't have to get that, and it's just to give an extra layer of structure to the reservoir and the cylinder so it doesn't move under heavy braking load. My problem that I ran into is that, they developed this to be installed on that shock tower, which has 2 threaded holes, so you can undo the wire loom on that side and install it, and then install the loom on top with the bolts that are already there. On this side of the car, there's only 1 threaded hole, and there's another hole, but it's not threaded. This wire loom I'm gonna have to move. I think I'm gonna move it underneath because it's kind of just dangling right now. It's not a real big issue. And then it's not mounted by 2 bolts. It's only mounted by the 1. So I really would have You know, obviously they designed it to be mounted by 2, but it seems very secure right now. So I'm gonna drive it, you know, see how it does after some driving, maybe a track day with just mounting by the 1. They gave me some options to try to fix that problem. You know, their main solution was using a nutsert or a rivet nut, which actually inserts basically a cap that has threads, and you can thread a bolt inside that. I may do that eventually, but right now I'm gonna see how it does just with the install of the 1 bolt. So I was gonna end this video with a driving impression. You know, I really wanted to drive the car after I installed this kit. Obviously that's where you're gonna know how it feels. But I ran into a issue that was created at the firm when I believe probably one of the times when I went off track, I actually stripped the bolt out of my control arm in the rear. I stripped the bolt out. So the camber kit was only being held on by 1 bolt. So I gotta fix that before I can drive the car safely. Drill that out and retap the threads there, create new threads, and so I can get a bigger bolt in there and get it secure. And then I also found that I'm leaking some coolant from my water pump, and I'm leaking oil from my oil pan, so I gotta do some maintenance on the engine to get that stuff back up to spec, and then I will give you guys a test of and impressions of the brake booster delete kit, which I will get to as soon as I get the car ready to drive again. Please go to HONED's YouTube page and subscribe now. Click the link right on the screen in front of you. It'll be a circle right about here. And then also go to the link in the description and go to HONED's website. You can see all of their products and see what cars that they've been working on and developing parts for. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not done that already. Head over to our Facebook and Instagram page and follow us there. And I'll see you guys soon with some more videos on the EJ6.